They say Rome wasn't built in one day. And just like that motherfucker, I took my time. This is Free Game the Dialogue. And I aim to give you guys the best possible podcast that I can possibly give. Now, if you look behind me, you can kind of see this city's plan. And you know what isn't? My podcast. Now, this first episode, it's only right that we start at the beginning. And that's why I've decided to bring on my guest, Dolapo. Now, in this episode, we're going to talk about how we're both starting our journey, what our expectations are, and what challenges we might have faced together. Now, with these challenges, there comes life experience, and those are things that are gonna get us through our journey. And now, let's get into it. Okay, Free Game, the Dialogue, episode 1. Obviously, this has been a long time coming, and the proper way to do it was to do it with Dolapo. You know, this is my homeboy Dolapo.
Yes, sir.
Our introduction was, how would you say it? How would you say it when we started?
It's funny because I never go to a 7-Eleven for a Red Bull, ever. And the one time I needed a Red Bull because I worked, I ran into this guy. And, just chopped it up.
Yeah.
I think from the moment you, made a joke, you cracked a joke, it was like an icebreaker. I was like, okay, I mess with this guy. So
You know what's funny? This guy was shirtless at the door. So before I walked in 7-Eleven, I had to make sure to see who was in there because I warned him. I was like, yo, listen, I know I'm swimming with the sharks today, but hey, leave some girls for some of us, right?
I'm dead.
Yeah.
No, it's just shirt out shorty, you know what I mean? It's a shirt out summer, you know what I'm saying?
This guy married 2, has kids, and just a man of more in abundance.
You know what I mean?
We move.
God did, yes sir.
But when I met you, the thing that intrigued me the most was the fact that, we're both starting at the beginning,
yes,
right?
Sir.
We have a vision, and then we have all these steps that are, I wouldn't say steps, but like hurdles,
right,
that we gotta move through.
Yeah.
And then I just thought it was right that this be the first episode because it kind of makes sense.
Just the way it happened.
Just the way it
happened so naturally. It's like we found each other. You didn't have to go looking for a first guest. It happened naturally. So I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's kind of like us not doing the first episode the first time last week. I guess it's kind of a good thing, right?
It is. Give them more time to just live, experience things, and I feel ready. You know what I mean? So
Awesome.
let's get it.
So on your journey so far, because what do you want to do? It's vlogging, right? So
yes, ideally, I feel like that wouldn't feel like work because even just when I this might sound silly. I don't take my social media seriously as some people might, but just when I post, it's just in the moment, right?
Yeah.
So I figured I know with a lot of vlogs and a lot of streamer content these days is scripted. A lot of it is scripted. So I just feel bring some wholesome content has always been my MO. You know what I mean? And just posting about my life, being transparent. Some people may think that's a weakness or whatever, but I feel just having nothing to hide, and just being as authentic as you can be on camera, because everything is for viral purposes, for shock factor nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So, for me, it's just wholesome vlogging content is what I would. Yeah.
So you'd say authenticity is your thing.
Yeah,
you
for
see in a world where, how do you say this? People live on the internet, the social media and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I was one of those people. I'm not saying that I'm just no, but I was one of those people too. But then you learn that the only thing that really matters are the people you're going back home to. Whoever that may be. Or, some people don't even have anybody to go back home to. So at the end of the day, it's you realize that just have yourself, and so you just gotta I don't even know how to describe it, but you just have to be comfortable with yourself, have that self-security, and not live to please other people. And I feel with social media nowadays, a lot of people live to compare, and even I was a victim of this too, jealous of, just envying even my own friends sometimes, you know what I mean? And I knew that obviously it wasn't their intent to flaunt what they had, but just because I had so little than they did, it made me. But I think over the years now, I'm still not the richest man, but I'm content with what I have, and and just have a sense of self-security. I know who I am.
Yeah.
So I don't live to please anybody.
Yeah, self-awareness, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about awareness.
I think that's one of the kind of like the superpowers I had growing up, because like I knew that I didn't have what other people have. Mm-hmm. So in order for me to like stay like content and stay leveled, it was just like to live in like the realm of reality,
right?
You know, but also having that understanding that one day I'll get there. Yeah. Because not just hard work. Yeah. But by the fact that time is on my side. Not in the sense where it's like, hey, if I do this, I have all the time in the world. Yeah. In the sense that like, if I operate with what I have and in the means, eventually I'm gonna get there.
Absolutely, it's inevitable.
I don't wanna. Because I get what you mean, especially with like the jealousy thing. Yes, You know, I'm sure
that's something nobody wants to talk about. You know, because we always talk about the people who are jealous of us. It's easy to notice jealousy, but then when you're the one who's jealous, you're never gonna go to your friends and be like, "Oh, I'm jealous of you." No, it's like, you know, that was something I really had to dig deep and work through. Like, I don't care how people take that. It's just me being honest. Like, I feel like some people might be able to relate to that. It just, that's just more the important, it just makes it more important for me, what works is just having God and having something that is beyond me. So, you know, on my best days, glory to God. On my worst days, glory to God. Just having that faith, you know, is really just turned my life around. So, yeah.
But do you think, I mean, when you didn't have it, like how difficult was it?
Boy, Doug. Let's just say peace of mind was not as easy to come by, you know. So definitely owe it all to God. Like, I don't care who got something to say about that. It's you know, God did. That's my slogan. Everybody who know me know God did. That's my slogan.
That's what's up. Yeah. But so like obviously as you're going through this journey, like what are your expectations for the future? Like what do you envision?
Honestly, I realize that like it doesn't matter what my expectations are, right? Because God can switch it like that. I think my only thing to myself is just be adaptable, be prepared for God's lessons and blessings, right? Yeah. So my expectations are obviously of a better life, greater things, you know, really to more like inspire through my creative side. I think is probably my expectation, but it's no like pressure to myself. It's just like, I know it's gonna work out and I just have to be ready. So it's more of an emphasis on being more adaptable. And I think that's something that's being resilient and adaptable, especially adaptable, because that's something that's carried me all through my life. Like I've always craved stability and I never really had that growing up, you know, like especially when I moved to Canada, like a lot of, you know, just toxic family situations that kept me going from place to place. You know, hanging with friends and staying with friends I probably shouldn't have been at the time, you know, who couldn't really grasp what I was going through at home. And I think just for me, it's not expectations anymore. That was more when I was younger. I had all the, you know, when I was younger, I couldn't wait to be older, right? So it's like, now I get here and I realize, no, it's not about, you know, me putting pressure on it's just about being adaptable. You know, anything can happen at any moment, right? So just being ready, I would say, is probably like the biggest emphasis that I focus on. Not really just putting expectations on myself. I already know what I need to do. You know, I know my goals, I know my dreams, you know what I'm saying? So I just gotta work at it every day and, you know what I mean? Keep it.
So you'll eventually get there.
You'll eventually get there. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. If you're intentional about it, you know, like that sign right there, you know what I mean? You'll get there.
Nice. But what about goals? Like obviously,
goals,
expectation and goals are two different things, right? Yeah. But what are you aiming for? Like, what are your goals when you?
My goals, my main goals is honestly just to live a purposeful life. Live a, you know, for me, like, I have goals of myself as just like little goals. For one is just, you know, wake up, pray. I would say, like, give thanks is like the ultimate thing for me. That's like get it started. But as far as like short-term goals, it's never, of course there's money and bills and stuff like that, and you know, things you want to get done, you know, join a basketball team. Goals are never ending. You know what I'm saying? And being a dad now, I've learned to just like go with the flow. And that may sound bad, but it's just like, again, it just comes back to being adaptable. You know what I mean? So like, my goals really, just when I wake up, is just to make the most of my day. You know, and honestly, that starts by just being the best person I can be. My goals, you know, I feel like everybody got a to-do list on their iPhone.
Yeah.
You know, and mine just keeps growing longer and longer. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm setting all these goals, and eventually I'm gonna reach them. But it just like, again, goals are kind of like expectations of yourself, right? And some people, I've seen people, you know, write the same goals down 300 times, you know, on new paper, but nothing's changed. It's just the same goals. So for me, I say just the ultimate goal for me is just be my best self every single day. Be better than yesterday. Learn, you know, as much as I can. Knowledge is power, but not for like to use for evil or anything like that. Just honestly, just be of God as much. Not to be, nobody is Jesus Christ, but to, you know, be as close to Jesus as you can be. You know, listen to that stranger who you may have found annoying and is taking up from, you know, from your day or wherever you're going. Listen to them, hear them out, because you never know, that 10-minute conversation or 30-second conversation that you have with them could change their life. So those to me are like my goal, like the goals I have is just the intangibles that life throws at you. You know, how do you handle that? Like, how do I handle, you know, just whatever the world throws at me. Me going to an appointment and the doctor is late or whatever. You know, moments that test my character. So
Thanks.
I would say that those are more my goals. Like moments that test my character. I want to see how I handle them. So like, it's always like for me, it's always, everything is always deeper than it is. And you know, you won't be for everybody if you're like that, you know, but I'm a person who is very intentional. So it's always, yes, it is always, it is always that deep to me. I can't be chalant, you know what I mean? I can't be nonchalant, sorry, you know, I can't be nonchalant. So in the day and age where like nonchalant is cool now, and you're not, guys are supposed to say, you know, just like, you know what I mean? Do all that Steve shit. Man, no, I am as chalant as it gets, and my girl will tell you no different. You know what I mean? She told me all the time, I never shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? But I would rather I'd rather overshare than not say. I'd rather be transparent than not, because for me, it's like I just never want anybody to feel like. That's why I'm so careful with what I say. I never want anybody to feel like I'm trying to slight them or anything. So for me, goals is just, again, it's just one of the, you can make goals all you want, but if you're not getting them done and they just keep growing, you know, it's whatever. So the ultimate goal for me is just be better than I was yesterday. That's the ultimate goal. And that's the only goal that I need to keep at the forefront. The rest of the shit, join the gym, that'll all happen in time when God decides and when, you know, you're ready for it. So it's not like
but like, why this? Like, why do you feel like, hey, this is where I could have the most positive impact, like as I represent God doing this, as opposed to like just be with your family, be a godly man, build your community from there, and you know, have that positive impact and just stay in the shell? Like, why this?
I feel like for me, it's like it's all like, for me, it's all part of, it's all within the shell. Like for me, because when I really post, you know, even on my social media, it's just me with my family 90% of the time, you know what I mean? So, you know, it wouldn't be for any money, fame. It's just pure passion for the love of the game, really, you know? And like I said, wholesome content, right? So that starts with just my family and I, you know, that's, you know, this is just a way of inspiring people to romanticize their life.
Yeah.
That's all I want you to do. Like, man, like take a walk, you know, post a story of you singing. That's the type of shit I want to see. I want to see people living. Even on social media now, people are nonchalant, you know, like we were just talking about how people will have a million followers, but no posts, you know what I mean? So everybody nonchalant is cool now, being that mysterious, you know, everybody want to be so mysterious so bad. It's like, no, man, like if you had came up to me when we first met, I was all mysterious and shit, and, you know, and all standoffish, like this wouldn't be happening right now. You know what I mean? So it's just for me, it's just all within the shell. Because me, I'm a very, like, I post what I want you to see. Right? Don't look at my Instagram and think you know my whole life. No, absolutely not. Like, I may post a lot, but again, it's because I want to. I'm free to do that, you know? And anybody who has anything to say about that, you know, I'm not holding a gun to your head to watch my shit, right? So it's just, for me, it's all within the shell. So because it all starts at home with me. You know, I love my family to death, and like, you know, everything I do is for them. You know, and me personally is just this is another. And this, the fact that this came to me at a time where now I have a family and stuff like that, it's like, I can't explain it, but like, I just know God really cooked. You know what I mean? He really cooked here. He really cooked here. So it just feels like the perfect time to, you know, dive like full go mode with this, you know, and just take it seriously. And when you came to me with this opportunity, man, just a platform to like, fuck yeah,
that's
bro.
What's up.
You know what I mean? So yeah, this is dope.
Yeah, but like you see, obviously you've mentioned family a lot. So on this journey that you're taking, like how do you think that affects them? Like every decision, especially the goals and stuff that you have.
Right. I think it's about communicating, right? You know, obviously there's times right now, like right now I'm away from my daughter, right? And I'm missing her dearly. And it sucks. But I think that I see the bigger picture. You know, like Tupac said this thing once that like, you know, if I can be the person that like sparks an idea or sparks a brain to, you know, it's a domino effect, right? You even if this podcast gets 1 view, if it gets 0 views, you know what I mean? You know, somebody could have still seen it and it may have touched them and, you know, something I might have said may have resonated with them. So that's just, I think that my family understands that, my girl understands that because I communicate that with her. I'm very transparent and she knows my heart, right? So a girl who knows your heart will, you know, understand your ambitions, you know, and though I love being a dad, you know, I understand that my purpose is also to, you know, move humanity forward in any way that I can. So if I can use my voice to do that and just be real, like, you know what I mean? So that's really the way I look at it. And like, they understand and it's really sweet. It's just nice to have that support, which is why it's like, I feel so comfortable being here. And
what do you think, or how would life be? Or how would things be different if she didn't show support? Like, how do you think, how different would it be? Would you still pursue it?
Yeah, I most definitely would. She may, see that's the thing, it's like your parents, right? They may not understand your passion, but they know you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
You know, so eventually they gonna have to give in and, you know, maybe not support you, but understand it.
Yeah.
Or they may just, you know, decide to, you know, not support you fully and just completely walk out of your life. That's their problem, you know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a rude way or anything like that, but I'm saying like, if I'm doing something out of pure intention and you can't understand why this is important to me or and like I'm so passionate about it, then, you know, that's something we're just gonna have to let, you know, figure itself out, you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's not really, I can't deny who I am to please you, you know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I really love about my girl is that she understands that, you know, she really sees that my purpose is, I am who I say I am. You know, I'm not putting on a show, like, you know, I reassure her every day. So when you do things like that, it's hard for me to even imagine her not being okay with it because that's not my reality, right? But, you know, it's just, I would still be me regardless. I'm not changing for anybody, you know, and I think that's what really works with my relationship and family dynamic. And, you know, we just all understand that like we all have different passions and different callings, and it doesn't mean that we have to like, you know, fight or, you know, try to control how much one does. It's just, no, bro, just, you know, let her be, like, you know, be free. Just because you're in a relationship, you shouldn't be locked, tied down, or feel like you're being hindered, you know what I mean? So, it's just, if she wasn't cool with it, then, you know what, honestly, I would, you know, I would still be me, you know?
You still do it?
Yeah, like Kendrick said, man, I choose me, I'm sorry, right? And I don't say that to slight my girl, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying if it came to a point where she wasn't cool with it, you know, I don't see myself just not doing something I've always wanted to do, you know, just because she says no, you know what I'm saying? You still have to pursue your passions, and so. Yeah, but she understands. Yeah. She understands.
So how did you have your conversation with your parents? Like, that you're doing this? Like,
no. I'm a grown man. Yeah. Man, I'm 27. I don't gotta tell nobody I'm going on a podcast. I'll pop out and show y'all, man. What you mean? They gonna see me on the big screen.
No, because, you know, like, I feel like, especially like Africans, like, especially when it comes to our parents, it's when you have that conversation, you want to do something.
When anything with music, actor, any creative is a hell. Like, what do you? it's only doctor and lawyer, surgeon, you know, presidents of intercontinental affairs. Like it's just they look, and I get it. You know, I get it. Our parents like. They didn't grow up in our age with, you know, things were different back then. You know, mental health wasn't taken as seriously. The things that we know now. So for me, like, I love my parents to death. They weren't the most perfect parents, but I do love them. You know, they're trying. And I think for African parents, it's just like, it's hard for them to wrap because, you know, their parents probably told them the same thing to be realistic, right? But that's why there's really two kinds of people. There's the realists and the dreamers, right? And coming up in my family, like, I was the middle child of 5. And like, so I had two older brothers. One was a realist and one was a dreamer, right? So I had to find that happy medium between just like being a realist and being a dreamer, because I found my realist brother was too negative. He's too damn, you know, like everything got to be realistic. And then I found my brother who was a dreamer. He had the right intentions, but his dreams outseated his motivation and his ambition. You know what I mean? So I had two brothers on two extremes. Trying to learn from them, and I love them to death too. Like, you know, but just as a kid, trying to learn from them, trying to figure myself out. It just took a lot of like observation, even from when I was young, like reading Bible stories. I just would see things and I would just know, okay, that's good. And I would just see things and know, okay, that's not me. I'm not doing that, you know? And the more I grew up, the more I just understood that, like, you know, you can't, like, being realistic doesn't mean that you have to be, like, you have to almost diminish your dreams, like, in a way, because people will say, oh, be real, like, but it's like, what do you mean? Like, you create your own reality, right? So like, you can't say be real. And to people who say, like, yes, dream big, yes, but you also have to make sure that you're also putting in the work. That's the part they don't add to that, right? So it's like having to find that balance and realizing that life is really just like the gray area. Life is not black and white. There's a lot of intangibles that you'll be in situations where you don't know. You know, two of your best homeboys beefing. You know what I mean? You don't want to get in the middle of it because, you know, but it's like you'll be put in situations where it's not like, it's not right or wrong necessarily. It's like the gray area, and just being understanding and, you know, coming to like reality with who you are as a person. Really helps with that. Just practicing mindfulness, you know, for me, just, you know, scripture, and just constantly I think the biggest thing is just eliminating fear. Like, that's one thing, it's just faith over fear. That's been my mantra lately. That's been my go-to saying lately, just because fear is inevitable. Like, you know, like some days I'm not scared to die, and then I wake up the other day and I'm fucking, you know, everything's tripping me, you know. But it's like faith over fear. That's the ultimate thing, and just finding that gray area in life will take you far, because it makes you like really have more depth and like understand that, like, you know, you can have a conversation, and, you know, it doesn't have to be, you can still feel like you were valid, and I can still feel like we were valid, but we can come and talk about that, and just maybe not even have some common ground, but just communicate it, get it out, you know what I mean? Maybe there's no result that comes from it, but it's like, just coming to just finding the gray area. I think that's one thing that's really worked for me, and, you know, navigating, you know, realists and dreamers, and, you know, just everything that life throws at you. And yeah, bro, I'm yapping now, but you know what I'm saying? I keep going
speaking mind.
It's free game, you know what I'm saying?
That's what the podcast is for.
So finding that gray area, man, it changed my life. Like, just understanding that, like, and it just helped me with accountability too, you know, because now I can look at myself when I do something that I feel is out of pocket. Like, I know when to apologize, because I know that, you know, okay, she had a right to feel that way, you know, and maybe so did I, but I didn't go about it the way that I should have, you know what I'm saying? Because as a man, you always feel like sometimes, like, you know, crashing out is the best option. And, like, you know what I'm saying? When you're a man, there's a certain way that men crash out, you know what I mean? And, like, it may not look that crazy to you, but it may look crazy to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Especially being a black man, you know? So just being mindful and just being, just being truly grateful and just navigating that gray area, man. I can't stress that enough. Like life is not so black and white. You know, just because they're friends with someone that you don't fuck with doesn't mean that they're you know what I mean. It's never. Sometimes it is that way, but it's never what you think it is a lot of times. Yeah. So you have to just be humble and understand that you are wrong too a lot of times. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's.
So as you go through this journey, right? Like obviously there's going to be sacrifices.
Of course.
That you're going to have to do.
Of course.
Like, is that something that you sometimes think about, and
all the time.
You're ready to prepare?
Yeah,
to
see, that's honestly the sacrifices things too is where the fear kind of creeps in, right?
Yeah.
Because you understand that, like, love being a dad, but I gotta get the bread, right? So a lot of time spent away from home. Things like that you have to navigate, but it's it just makes, for me, it's like delayed gratification. It just makes those moments with my family even better because I'm out doing something purposeful for them, and so for me it's the sacrifices, man, it's fucking tough, dog. I ain't even gonna lie, like it's but when you're doing it, even when you're tired, like there's a lot of times I'll be at work and I don't want to be there, but I look at my Apple Watch and a picture of my daughter and my girl will pop up, you know what I mean? And I'm like, just like, man, like, that's everything, like, and it just kind of puts you back to, I think the sacrifices really is like what tests my true character and lets me know who I am. Like I know I'm a good person. God knows I'm a good person. More importantly, my family knows I'm a good person. And so for me, it's like just understanding that, right? That's what it makes me want to do more things for them. Even sacrifice more of myself because there's nobody else that I would do that for other than my my family, right? So like for me, it keeps me grounded, it keeps me humble, knowing that, like I may be broke, but if my little brother, is sick or whatever, I'll buy him, a pizza with my last $10. It's not about me, you know what I mean? It's the impact that you make on other people. And like, that's what, being selfless, that's what finding God has taught me, is just being selfless and letting him take control a lot of times too, right? And understanding that the tests and the moments where you feel like you are at the bottom, like damn near contemplating suicide type shit, and that's some real shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people won't speak on that. Like, a lot of people have been there, you know what I mean? I know I have, but God did, right? And like, that's my motto, because through that, through everything, like he was with me, you know what I'm saying? So what's a little bit of me being more selfless, just making that sacrifice, for the people I love. Like, that's the least I could do, you know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it.
So it looks like your sacrifice, there's no limits. Like, are you prepared to skip like those?
I'm prepared to die, bro.
Yeah?
I'm prepared to die. Like, dog, you know how many people don't make it past 25? You know how many people ain't make it past their first birthday even? Like, not even 25, man. Like, and when you really romanticize your life and when you really have God, first of all, but when you really are in tune with God, your life romanticizes itself. Like, everything just like connects, the dots connect, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't even have to romanticize my life. It just is what it is. Like, it's just that beautiful, you know what I mean? And for me, like, that's the way I look at it. Like, man, I've lived a great life. I could die right now and I'd be the happiest man, you know, like, and that's just the way I look at it, because that eliminates that fear, that ego that wants to be here, that ego, I'm important. No, like, you know what I mean? Not to be corny or anything like that, but one of my favorite little sayings was, I saw John Cena on Kai Cenat's stream talking about a pale blue dot, like in the, you're just a pale blue dot in a beach somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Like, that's really all what we are. You know what I mean? And because we've, built our whole lives with an identity now, that's what we want to hold on to. We don't want to be just forgotten as the world moves on. Fear of missing out. You know what I mean? But I think for me, I don't really have that, because I know where home is. I prioritize my family. I'd rather spend time indoors, just playing games with my daughter and my family than going out. So for me, it's like, there's not really. Yes, there's a whole world out there, but like home is love. You know what I mean? So like, that's where I want to like start at, and you know that's who I do it for. So like, yeah, I'm ready to die about it, bro. Like I've lived, man. You know how many African kids don't get to come to you know a first or you know a great country such as this one. My uncle always says like Canada is the best country in the world, and God bless him, because if not for him, I wouldn't be here right now. But you know how many, I think of this, it still feels like a dream being in Canada, bro. Like every day feels like a fucking dream, because you know how many African kids would kill to be in my shoes?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To have the problems that I have,
Yeah.
like, you know, like shit's just getting harder for them back there. So you just gotta be grateful and just stay humble, man. Like, and that's just what keeps me grounded, is just doing it for the people I love. So I'm ready to die about that. Yeah, like that's what I mean. Yeah.
But so like now let's talk about focus and discipline. Because in order for you to be the best version of yourself to do this, you know, we just talked about sacrifice.
Yeah.
Now I understand that you, like anything is that you're willing to jump hurdles, you're willing to sacrifice time just to get there, right? And it shows that you're willing to get to that level where it says to be the best, right? So like in terms of focus and discipline, like what does that mean to you, or how do you put that in your life?
Focus and discipline, is for me, it just starts with being intentional, right? If you're intentional about something, you can't help but not focus on it, right? Discipline is a whole different ballgame. Discipline is just discipline starts by just showing up, right? Like, so for me, it's like being intentional as possible. So I'll break it down this way. Because of God, I'm present, right? And because I'm present, I'm focused, right? And because I'm focused, discipline is a whole new thing in itself, because it just requires me just showing up. Just, you know what I mean? Like, there's been so many days I didn't want to go to the gym, but I'll go and I'll show up there, and I can, you know, just giving myself, if I get there and I want to leave right away, I can. Just giving myself the option to at least try, right? Like, so I'll show up there, and I've never pulled up to the gym and just left just because because once I'm there, it's like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah,
might as well fucking, you know what I mean? So I'll show up, and even if I work out for 20 minutes, that's still better. A small win is still a big win, you know what I mean? So for me, it's just like, there's steps to it. And what works for me is just having faith in God, which helps me be present, which keeps me focused, because to me, life is spiritual, right? I don't know, that could be different for somebody. It could be different for other people, but for me, that's something that always snaps me back into reality.
Facts.
When all the physical, you know, all the bills and all the, you know, external life bullshit is adding up. I just remember life is spiritual. So, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, that I'm 2 weeks late on rent or whatever. It matters that I continue to be kind to, you know, that man who, you know, said hi to me this morning, but I was too pissed off to acknowledge him. You know what I mean? It's just like, just being a good human being should always be at the forefront of, you know, everything you do, basically. So for me, just, you know, being focused is just, I really just get that from having like the best intentions for humanity. Like that keeps me focused in itself. Just being you know, the way, especially when you're a dad too, right? It's a different level of focus, because, you know, you're watching everything. You know, for me, just to speak for me at least, like, you know, you can't, you know, I can't hug up on my wife too much, because, you know, our 2-year-old's going, you know what I mean? So it's like, when you're always kind of on alert, even though I was a support worker for 2 years, and my client was a flight risk. So when you're always like on alert, like it's almost kind of a good thing. Life keeps you focused. And for me, like, God just keeps me focused, because I'm just so intentional on just making sure, just being observant too, but just, you know, I think it all starts with just being intentional for me, and that starts with my faith. 1,000,000%, right? And then everything else aligns. But the discipline is all you. Like, you got to get up and do that shit. You know, everything else, God can only do so much. But a lot of people will look at God like, why is it not happening? Well, it's like, no, you got to look in the mirror, right? Like, He can't do it all for you, right? So, that's the way I look at that.
So, what would your message be for the people that pray but nothing's happening? Like, they believe, they pray, they give money, like. but nothing's happening.
You know what's funny? That's actually like our reality.
Yeah.
A lot more times than not, is it not? Like when have you ever prayed and it just fell in your lap right then and there, right? So that's where the faith comes in. There will be tests. God is not just gonna give you what you want because you ask. It's the way, like, you know, if a child asks you for a knife, are you gonna give the child the knife? No, right? So that's the way God looks at it. A lot of the things that we ask for are from ego. Like I thank God more than I pray for things these days. I give glory more than I pray for things these days because I have everything I need. You know what I mean? So for me, like even Kanye said this one thing. He prayed that he might be the worst person to quote right now, but you know he had some real gems for real. He said that he prayed that his mother, he prayed that he wouldn't feel, God would take the pain, like he wouldn't feel any more pain because he was just going through it, and he prayed that he wouldn't feel any more pain. And then the next week, God took his mom. So he said after that, when you lose your mom, what greater pain is that? He didn't feel, so he got his wish, but not in the way he wanted, right? That's what I'm saying. You got to be careful what you pray for too, right? So when you feel like, oh man, like I'm praying, like God isn't doing it for me, that rejection is a blessing because you can't see the destruction that is before you, you know, because of that prayer. So every prayer that goes on and that you feel goes unanswered is a blessing. It's because He's looking out for you. You know what I mean? It means you just got to keep the faith, you know, and it probably means you got to just honestly give more thanks. Because when you can't, if I'm going to the bank, if I'm going to you every day and taking from your wallet all the time, right? People got it fucked up these days. I'm sorry to cuss, but like it's just like y'all just look to God and ask for things all day, every day. I read this thing once that I never forgot. It said God doesn't like timely prayers. You know, my bus is still. Oh God, please let my bus come here like 1 minute earlier. He doesn't. No. Like, and it kind of makes sense because you know it's in the moment where you realize, oh, there's nothing else, and why isn't it your first option? You know what I'm saying? So it's that's kind of the way I look at it, is that like if you are praying and you feel like it's not being answered, it's probably because there's more work to do, and God just doesn't see that for you. That's just how simple it is. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that He's not listening. No. In fact, He's there all the time, and you probably haven't seen 99% of the blessings that He's put before you. You know what I mean? So you really got to just tap in and be grateful. People forget that aspect of God. Like, you have to give thanks. If I'm coming to you all day, every day, yo, you got $5, taking from you every day, and never paying you back, how would you feel? You know what I'm saying? So
now let's talk about failure, right? Like, have you any challenges that you tried that you failed? Or what does failure mean to you?
Failure is just another opportunity to be great. Like, I know there's no great, athlete or person that didn't go through failure. Like, it's a part of life. But the thing is that it's easier said than done. So like, obviously, like I'm speaking from like an out of body experience, but like, failure, it's really true. Those low moments really build you. Like, the way God has been so like faithful and just amazing in my life, bro, like I can't even put it into words. Because the tests, like, I'll just say this, in probably what was my lowest moment that I can recently remember, I remember just like sitting under, it's some poetic shit, sitting under a tree with all of my belongings outside, homeless. And I sat under a tree and just cried, just letting go of, all the hate that I was harboring for who and them, and just let go of everything. And I just remember saying that, like, I just thinking it will work out. Glory to God. Thank you, God. Like, just thanking Him for where I was and how quick things turned around was because, see, the thing is, like, people are afraid to even try these days, let alone fail. You know what I mean? So like, you really got to go through those. You got to know how to take your L. You're gonna take a couple L's before you get to your W's. Like, I work door-to-door sales. You take many L's, bro. You know what I mean?
Get slammed the door.
And I think failure is just inevitable. But it's how you handle the failure, how you bounce back from it, so to speak. And by bouncing back from it, like, you can't tell, did you really fail? If you failed and you got better, Did you really fail? No. If you fail and you fail again and you fail again and you got even 0.2% better, like, did you really fail?
No.
Because that's the thing, like, you fail, you get knocked down. But if you don't get up, nigga, then nothing happens, right? So, like, I made this quote the other day, said, like, short, might already be a quote, I don't know, but I said, I'd rather live doing something than die doing nothing. You know what I mean? It's just simple and short, like, you know, I'd rather go out and fail a million times and, you know, learn than just not be doing shit with my life, you know, doing the same shit I was doing in high school, you know what I mean? Like, no, like, I'm trying to evolve.
Would you say that that's one of the, the things that a lot of people are missing in their lives? Like, something to live for, instead of just being in that mode? Because, like, I don't know if you ever watched, like, Andrew Tate or whatever, these people, they always say that the reason why people are the way they are is because they live in the so-called matrix, or they live in the, you know, go to school, work, repeat, right? Like, would you say that's what's wrong with most people? They don't have something to live for?
No, I don't think it's that they don't have something to live for. I think that they just have to do some soul searching. You know, it's because these external things, work, money, right? You know, that's why I say life is spiritual, because that's what snaps me back into my reality. You know, is that it's not that they don't have something to live for, is that they just have to find, for me, for me, God is what worked, right? But they just have to find whatever it is that, not necessarily like they believe in, but something to believe in. When it could, not a religion or even just a mantra, even like whether it's just be a good person or whatever it is, but just, I feel like these people just gotta find something to believe in. You know, these are people, and I feel like these are people who can't help but compare. And, you know, when you do that, it's a dangerous game. You're constantly gonna be keeping up with the Joneses, right? So you just have to find peace within yourself. You have to do some soul searching. Sit with yourself, talk to yourself, get to know yourself. You know what I mean? And just truly like manifest things, you know what I'm saying? Like daydream. I daydream 24/7, you know, and I daydreamed myself right into this very spot. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just really just dream big. And your opportunity will find you. You know what I mean? If you're doing the right things, like it's inevitable, bro. So like, I wouldn't, you know, Andrew Tate and those guys, that shit is toxic, man. Those guys are fucking idiots, because that's not, you know, smoking cigars and talk about your bodies.
It's not reality.
That's not reality. That's not reality for so many dudes. Like, or, you know, just people in general. And it's just stupid. You know, what's like? It's just this facade, like this fallacy of what masculinity is. Like, it's not smoking cigars and it's not degrading women and you know, no, that is not masculinity, bro. True masculinity is really actually being for women and protecting and understanding that, like, you as a man, like, you can never understand and like walk through a woman's shoes because you're a man. Like, that's just fact. Like, you have no idea the bullshit that women deal through with hormones and shit like that. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't, those guys are idiots to me, honestly, because it's just like, no, they tell you, oh, you're not depressed, you're just broke. No, no, bro. There's millionaires and, you know, billionaires that are fucking, you know what I mean? All they have is money, nothing else. You know, a broken home, and for what? Like, it, you know, if you have all, I said this to somebody once who, there was an argument, and you know, I was leaving their house. And I remember saying to them, like, because they were just like, the way they were living was just not it, right? And I remember saying to them, like, you can have this house to yourself, right? But like, what is this house gonna feel like when nobody's in it with you? You know what I mean? So it's like, that's kind of the way I think about it, is that like, everybody wants to feel like they know everything and like they're no, it's not, because they have nothing to live for. Everybody has a purpose. You just have to find it. You know, like, that's literally it. You have to find the joys in your life. You create your reality. So nobody can tell you, if people are telling you, oh, judging the way you live, and you really let those opinions seep in, well, then you're fucked. You know, because now they're controlling your reality, right? So it's like, you have to be secure enough to understand that you have a purpose. Simple. Like, that's where it starts. And you have to live every day like you know that purpose till you find that purpose. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's like, I realized my purpose was just simply just being a better person, just being, especially like not being a dad, like the youth, the next generation. I'm thinking more generation. I'm like, we're only here for a short time.
Yeah.
I've been hearing the most common thing people have been saying to me lately is, man, when you blink and it all just, you're 65 all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of older people have been saying to me. Like, you blink and it's just all gone. So like,
wait, hold on. Do you think that's the same case for you? Because since you have a daughter now.
Yeah.
Does the time just goes?
Oh yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Like the days just fly by like that.
Jeez.
And it's not even to say like it's the best feeling because you don't even in a day you do so much. You know what I mean? And there's just so much laughs and so much nuances. You know what I mean? And there's so much things you gotta adapt to. So yeah, bro, you really do blink and it just goes by like that. Like, I've had my little brother and my niece who I help raise, right? Like they're, it really does go by like that. Like I saw my niece not too long ago after not seeing her for like almost 2 months, and man, like she has a whole face of a human being now.
That's
like
crazy.
It's really true, bro. So I don't think that it's not because people haven't nothing to live for. I think that the world that we live in now is just so toxic, and they make us feel like we need money to be happy, and that is not the case. You even hear a lot of these girls nowadays saying like, oh, if he ain't 6 figures, if he ain't 6 foot and all this stuff like that, right? Yeah. And it's just like, man, like what 25-year-old nigga is carrying 600 rad? Like
scammers.
Scammers. The 419.
Yeah, these YNs, bro. I don't know how they get their money, but damn.
You know what I'm saying? It's just not realistic, bro. Like, so for me, I just understand that you just gotta be real with yourself. Yeah. Like, everybody has a purpose, man. Everybody has a purpose, and it's crazy to me to think that the world tries to tell us different. That we
let's say sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Let's say I wanted to be a basketball player, right?
Okay.
You see my height.
Okay.
And I say this is my purpose.
Okay.
My parents want me to go to school and be a doctor.
Okay.
But my purpose, and I feel so hard and cold-hearted in my heart that I should be in the NBA.
Yeah.
How would you advise that person? Because
that's the thing, right? Like again, there's been basketball players probably your height in the NBA, right? So it's not to say it can't be done. It's just how much are you prepared to work, right? If it's your purpose, you'll do everything to get to where like you need to go, right? But the thing is that look, you gotta also understand that it ain't that deep. If you like, you might just like, for example, my brother, like he was really great at football, right? And then he got to university level, and because he was great in high school, right? Because he was pretty big, pretty ripped. But then he got to the big boy league, and he said when they cranked him, he felt that shit. Like when they hit him, he felt that shit. You know what I mean? Way more than high school. So he knew, like, he wanted to go to the league. Like, till he got to the big boy, and they hit him once, and he said, oh, yeah, this is not for me. So you also got to be wise and aware enough to know if your purpose is causing you more stress. If what you feel is your purpose is causing you more stress, more harm than good, then it is probably not for you, right? But the thing is, even if you feel like that's what I want to do it. Regardless, even if you fail, and, because now your purpose could go from being in the NBA, okay, can't quite make the league, but you can readjust your purpose. Okay, how about I just start with head coaching high school kids? How about I just start with, maybe joining a rec team and, taking basketball. Yeah, I didn't make it to the league, but I'm doing something I love. You know what I mean? And yeah, your parents may not, want that path for you, but yeah, if you don't make it to the league, there's other leagues, CEBL. You can play for the Sea Bears. You can, just because it's your purpose, you also have to be willing to make adjustments. You know what I'm saying? Because your purpose is going to require you to make adjustments. So you also have to be willing to also do the same thing, right? So it's just knowing yourself truly. Like, it doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that it wasn't for you. You know what I mean? Correct. You can't force nothing, right?
But would you say that reality can be scary? Fear? Because we were talking about fear earlier, right?
Yes.
Can you say that reality can be
100%, yeah.
Because
100%.
Like realizing those days where it's like this is the end, I should just quit here, or like you said, this is not for me. Like, would you say that facing reality can be fearful as well?
It's hard, but I think it lights a different fire under you, right? Because now you're wiser. Like, I think when you're aware that, like, damn, this shit might not be for me, dog. that's when it actually gets easier, you know, because you're like, okay, now what's the next thing? Like even my sister was telling me she's been struggling with writer's block, right? Where she just, you know, couldn't, in those moments where you feel like, damn, you know, this ain't for me. That's when you really have to start living. That's the same thing I told my sister. Life is now giving you an opportunity to stop and smell the roses and gain new experiences so you can be better and be ready for the next step, you know? Because my sister was talking to me like, man, I ain't wrote nothing in like a month. Like I'm usually writing every day, this, that. And I told her like, yo, you know, you can't, you got to let it come naturally. You can't exhaust your creative, you can't put pressure on yourself to write 18 pages a day, you know, and you've been doing that for years. So now that she's finally like in a place where, you know, she can live and it's quiet, you know, in those moments where we're like, oh, fuck, like this might not be for me. Those are moments where it's quiet. Those are the best moments to really just stop and like almost go out of body and look at everything from a full scope. That's what that was telling you, is that it's not for you, but now, okay, let's do some soul searching, right? Let's go really deep. And one thing that really helped me with that was, I used to be a person, everybody who's known me has known I'm like a very happy, positive person. But once I started tapping into I called it the moon phase, like the dark thoughts. You know, I was like, man, I'm always happy. I've had so many people tell me, oh, man, you too happy all the time. You know what I mean? But they don't understand that, like, you know, the darkness, but you know, that I had to go through to get to this level of happiness, and the darkness that I have to tap back into at times, you know, just to be familiar with that feeling. You know what I mean? And when I say darkness, I mean like just sitting with uncomfortable thoughts, you know, and like, you know, maybe uncomfortable experiences that happen to you, and truly letting go of any kind of like hate you may have had for that situation. And maybe like that's just one thing that worked for me, was just understanding that like I can't just always be happy-go-lucky positive all the time, right? Because a lot of life is actually really dark. So being more comfortable with just those bad memories, and understanding that I didn't let that shape who I am. I think that for me is really what worked. It's just like, just understanding that like, yo, you know, it's cool to be, everybody would love to be happy all the time, but that's just not realistic. So when I started to, like my moon phase, and just like really, that was when I really felt like I was like for real healing. And I was able to accept everything with, you know, full open arms and take accountability, and like just get to a point of like, okay, like what's the next thing? Like, man, this year alone, like it's really been a year of adapting, you know? So that's just really, it's natural selection, baby. Like, you know what I mean? It's a dog-eat-dog world, man. You know what I'm saying? So like you gotta just have that, and as men, you can understand this. Like, ain't nobody coming to save us. Like, ain't nobody coming to save us. So, you know, you just gotta, at the end of the day, just, you know, get on your, you know, keep it P and just get on your shit and just handle what you need to handle at the end of the day. Like, you know, there's no better way to put it. But yeah, bro, just really just tapping into, you know, like the uncomfortable, the bad memories, and just a little exposure therapy to things that you're uncomfortable to like thoughts and activities, you know, just that's how you really grow. So that's what I would say to that, is that, you know, it's scary, but
you gotta face it, right?
You gotta face it.
And then last thing, let's talk about legacy. Like, what's the legacy you want to leave behind when you think about this? Man, the legacy I want to leave behind is, honestly, I just want my kids to be like, bro, like an infinite amount better than I and her, you know, their mom are. Like, I just want them, like, I have this this notes app on my phone called Keys to My Kids, where it's basically things I had to learn, go through the world and learn for myself that I wasn't told, that my parents, you know, for reasons that, you know, I can't really know for sure, that some things they didn't feel were important to share with me, I guess, or maybe they didn't know how to communicate it, but things just my parents never told me that I had to find out by myself that I'm gonna tell my kids. Like, so really, like, using my real life experiences to teach my kids so they don't go through
what I went through, and I'm gonna do that through like writing like a little scripture, a little dad scripture for them. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's a Bible, but here's dad's real life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like shit he went through and shit with doing that, it makes me feel good because like I understand that like that's what life's about. You know, it's not about like putting the pressure on your kids to be greater than you were. You know, I think just by supporting them. And just being there, you know, being present with them, being real with them, you know, I think that goes farther than trying to put all these expectations on them like our African parents do, you know what I mean? Like really trying to understand your kids, not just trying to, you know, make them a great worker or a rich, you know, there's so much more to life than money. People need to fucking desensitize themselves. Like there's, you know what I mean? I get it. Yes, money, you know, makes the world go around or whatever. But you know what? Like the world ain't shit without. Like the world wouldn't be here if not for God. Like so, you know what I'm saying? So we have to always put that at the forefront and put people over profit. You know what I mean? Because, bro, like I could go on, but it's just understanding that legacy is not just about the legacy for your family, but for humanity as well. Like it's a bigger scope. So. For me, it's just wanting my kids to be as, you know, not to be their friend, but to see me as a true father figure, like somebody they don't, you know, because strict parents create sneaky kids, right? So I don't want to make the same mistakes my parents did. I remember my brother asking my dad, why he's like, why do you hit us? Guess what this nigga said? He said, because my parents did it. So that, and it's like, so you didn't think to try to like stop the, you know what I mean? But that's the thing is just like, you know, our parents are growing up too. You know, obviously my dad is, I'm 27. You don't hear me no more. We have a great relationship, but it's just like, these are things like our parents, it's their first time here too. They're figuring this shit out with you. And I think, and at my age now, just understanding that like, you know, it's just about just really being selfless. And my legacy that I want to leave behind is to just honestly make people just speak their mind. Just be bold, be free. Like, you know what I mean? Dance at the bus stop, sing, rap, like nobody's like nobody's looking, you know? And the legacy is just, that I want to leave behind for my kids especially is just like, for them to just continue to be good, intentional, purposeful, and acts of service to humanity, not just like our family. Obviously, our family is a given. You know, our kids are gonna see the dynamic with, you know, me and my, you know, my girl, my wife, right? And they're gonna understand that okay, this is a healthy dynamic. So they're gonna naturally they're gonna multiply that. They're gonna multiply what they see. So making sure that you have a strong foundation at home and just like, man, I could go on for days, but yo, leaving the legacy is just everything to me, bro. Like I just want to make sure my kids have the best lives, like, and not go through what I went through, but just by doing, and that's how I do it. So for me, it's keys for my kids. That's my way of like leaving the legacy. Obviously, is, you know, the action, being there every day too, the obviously the unspoken, but I think that's when we talk about legacy, that's the only thing I could really refer to right now as what I want to leave behind. Obviously, a lot more things, you know, in my will, but like for right now, I think one of the most important things that I've realized was, you know, really using my experiences and jotting them, you know, in real time to help my kids learn, you know, the nuances of life. So, yeah.
So what's the one thing that you'd want to pass on to your kids, if you could just pick one thing, and that you think that they would learn and grow from?
God.
That's it?
That's it.
And what from God would you leave in that key?
Just, it says a mustard seed of faith, right? So just believe.
Just believe?
Just believe. And like, even if it's, you know, you don't want to go with that term, God, you know, being a good person is godly too. So if you believe in being a good person, yeah, we cool. You know, if you know what I mean? If you believe in, you know, whatever you believe in, whatever religion you may follow, if it brings you peace of mind and it makes you a better person, that's God. That's God, right? So I think for them, because for me, I understand that if I have God, then I have myself. If I have myself, then I can be there for the people I love, my family, right? And if I have that, that's just all key. It's just everything is everything. It just keeps rotating, right? So if I have those things, and God is at the like everything starts with Him. So if I can pass something to my kids, it'd be just God, like, because it's a beautiful poetic relationship. Like I can't explain it, because you can look back to where you were, like, bro, it's crazy, because right now where I'm living right, like, so let's just say the lowest moment of my life happened in this building. The best blessing of my life now happened. So I live in this building now. Like literally, I'm telling you, like the apartment. I'm just using like a coded way, but like I live in this building now, right? That's the building I live in. Me, and my girl and our daughter. And in this building, the next building over, I had the worst traumatic experience of my life. And for some reason, you know, God made a full circle moment where I'm living right next to that building. And on this side where I'm living now is the greatest blessing I've ever encountered. And on that side is a reminder. There's a reason for that. That doesn't just happen. You know what I mean? Like, that's God, and He's truly a calculated. He's funny. God is funny. People don't understand. He'll play with you. You know, when you leave in the house and that shirt drag on the door at the worst time, that's God having His fun. You know, there's little moments like that where you gotta understand that, like, when you truly walk with God and you understand, like, you're just always in tune talking to Him. Like, that's my relationship with Him anyway. But when you truly in tune with Him, man, like, you just understand, you'll have your days of where you feel mortal as hell, but, you know, just keeping Him at the forefront, man, it's changed my life. Like, I feel like I could be a Jehovah's Witness or something, but man, like, no, God is everything. Because that's what truly made me learn myself and just wanting to be better, you know, for myself and just for humanity, for my family especially, but for humanity too, you know. So
that's what's up. I think that's the thing I really appreciate. You're always speaking your truth. You don't leave anything behind, and you're just ready to put it all out there. And you said it before that you want people to live free, and just express themselves.
Just be free, bro. Like, I don't know. Watching this back, I may sound dumb as hell. You know what I'm saying? But if it touches even one person. Even if it reaches 0 people, right? Like, I don't care. I'm just doing it because it's right. And it's just like, it's things I wanted to get off my chest for a little bit. And just, bro, I just hate this nonchalant age we in. Like, it's cool to give a fuck, actually. You know what I mean? It's cool to care and be passionate about something. That's how the great ones, you know, got to be the great ones, because they had something that they loved and they dedicated, you know, themselves to working and mastering their craft, you know, whatever that may be, you know? So, bro, I just want people to be just free and, you know, just be yourself. Like, exposure therapy, get comfortable with, you know, being uncomfortable, you know? So, that's my main spiel to the world. Be free, man.
That's what's up. Well, as we kick off, it's only right that we start at the beginning, right? And the way I wanted to do this podcast is I wanted it to be something where people could listen to it and then just go through the day, because as men we go through so many things. Facts. You know, those silent battles, we don't know who to turn to, we don't know who to talk. So that's the way, and that's the reason why I wanted to do this podcast, is so that people can listen and then go through the silent battles by themselves, either strong or difficult. They can have something to listen to, right? And then just, how do I say this? Have something that, it's like a other way to like find solution. You know what I mean? Because like not everyone's gonna have solutions.
Facts.
Not everyone's gonna know what to say at those moments. You know, you don't want to go through things and the best thing that someone can say is, "Oh, it's gonna be all right." In your head, it's like,
no. You want to get into the complexity of
exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. And that's why I said like this podcast is really needed, not just for a community, but I know for a fact, especially this year. There's a lot of bullshit that's going on this year.
And I think we need more healthy, like, you know, just masculine safe spaces. You know what I mean? Like, no Andrew Tate shit. No, like, what? There's no need to. I feel like there's no need to degrade women if you're trying to promote or healthy masculinity. You know what I mean? Nowhere in healthy masculinity is there degrading women. You know what I mean? Like, you came out of a woman. You know what I mean? So for that very reason, you should have respect for women and, you know, their ability to even just give life. Like that's, you wouldn't be here without a woman. So coming out being however fucking old he is and talking down on women when you have a mom or a sister is beyond crazy. So yeah, bro. We just need more healthy, masculine, safe spaces, bro. Like I love, because for me, for the longest time, I actually like, I don't do this anymore, but I used to, have, girl best friends for reasons of just because they have the ability to go deeper. And I found not a lot of men want to talk about deep things, you know what I mean? So that's what you have your wife for, or and I understand that now, but it's just, yeah, bro, we need more healthy male spaces for real. Like, man, all the podcasts that I be seeing nowadays, and it's just bullshit. It's just, clickbait, stream, is whatever, saying shit for shock value. So yeah, we just need more healthy, like therapeutic, type of this kind, free game of dialogue, man. Free game of dialogue. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I guess that's it, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what's up.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
so much, Dolapo. I really appreciate you. First episode ever.
Yes, sir.
Finally done, bro. Yo, if people knew how long it took me to get here, jeez. I swear to God, I'm just glad it's here, bro. I swear to God. Okay.
Fuck yeah. Hey, thank you so much,
worries.
bro.
Okay.
Oh, man.
That's it.
That's it. We cut. We out.
Wait, can I do that? Sweet.
Dog, that was so dope.